Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this next pep talk, number 5 actually. My name is Gert-Jan Scheers and I'm your host for today. Pep talks are an initiative of WCC and they aim to facilitate the exchange of knowledge between public employment services all over the world. Today's topic is MYSKILLS, but before we start that, let me give you some general information. This is an interactive live webinar, so you're able to ask questions. And on your screen you'll see an orange button, and if you click on that, then you can ask questions. Just type it in and it'll come up on my screen, and we'll ask the host, speaker, the guest speaker of today, to answer the question. If you can't stay until the end, don't worry, because we'll make it available again after the showing of this webinar on demand. During the webinar we will ask you 2 questions in the form of a poll. Please answer them so we can get some feedback from your side. Finding the right job, if you don't have the right papers like diplomas or certificates, can be difficult, especially in a country where it's very important to have these documents. So how do you decide what people really can do? Because they can say a lot, but what is the truth? And well, maybe you should have a test. And that's, I think, the topic for today, because in Germany they're using this. And well, let me introduce somebody who knows everything about this and who will be my guest speaker of today. Anja, thank you for being with us, and we'll hope it will be very interesting. Well, I know it will be very interesting. And of course I would like to welcome my co-host Heidi Gehring, who works for WCC, and I know she will have many questions also. Well, I'm not going to give anything more away, so I'll just hand over this clicker, and we already had these questions, to Anja. Please take it away.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you, Gert-Jan, for inviting me. And just a few words on myself. I'm working in the placement service, the Bundesagentur für Arbeit, in the headquarter. And for the last 2 years, I've been working on this project. So that's why I'm here today. So thanks again. And just a few words on my employer, the Bundesagentur für Arbeit. If not anybody knows this institution, we have around about 95,000 employees working for the employment service in Germany. The budget is 39 billion euros. So it's a large institution, and we're paying out the unemployment benefits as well as the placement service. We have international placements as well. And we're also paying out child care benefits and insolvency payments. There's a lot of benefits which we are also responsible for that. So let's start with the topic why I'm here. What have I brought you with me for today? I thought we'll have a short glance on the background. So why are we developing these tests? What is it? What is this test about? What is the development of the test takes place? We'll have a first look at one of the questions of the tasks in the tests. What is our time frame and how does the test result look like? And we'll also discuss a bit about the placement process, because it's a matter of our job coaches. It's a matter of the placement process. Let's start. What is it? It's a computer-based test which consists of 120 questions roundabout. It's based on one occupation, so you have to choose beforehand for this one occupation you're going to do the test. We offer it in 6 different languages. So it's not necessary that you know the German language to do the test. And what we're very proud of is that it's a very practical approach. It's a practice-oriented test result for our counselors. It's based on the curricula after the German VET. That's the basis, but it's got a new structure. It's the areas of activities which represented in the test based on the occupation. I will give you an example later on, so you will have a closer look what I mean exactly with this. So this is what the test is about. We offer the test to job seekers who have no formalized qualification, but who do have a certain knowledge in one profession. If someone has obtained a stately recognized occupation or a stately recognized profession in his home country, then we have other ways in Germany to get them formally recognized. So we have a law which allows you to do that, it's the formally recognition. But this test is for people who do not obtain such a certificate. So that's why we're doing this.
Yeah, maybe a little explanation for our audience. This is very important in Germany. You need to really be able to formally prove your level of qualification, your level of knowledge. So for example, if you leave a job to go to the next job, your employer is giving you a written certificate stating that you have been employed, how long, what have your tasks been, your role description, and how overall, how well or how okay-ish did you perform in that job. And there's a law behind that really makes the employer responsible to provide the certificate. And that's, I believe, is why the test is so important, that also people with no formal qualifications can show that they do have some knowledge and some experience.
Yes, Heidi, exactly. It's like this in Germany. We strongly believe in formalized qualification system.
Yeah. We
do have a very strong apprenticeship system in Germany, which is really very elaborated and which supports people who've been in this system, but who leaves probably those out who have not been in the system, and they find most of the time or very often jobs in helper's position, even if they got the knowledge.
Yeah.
And our intention as a public employment service is to find out about these competences people bring with them to make them visible and usable for the labor market. So that's the basic idea behind it. Let's have a short glance at the labor market we have in Germany and the basis why we're doing this test. We got a very good economic situation. You see on the left-hand side the unemployment rates of the EU countries, and Germany is the second last. At the moment it's 3.6% unemployment rate, which is almost full employment in some regions. But we have such a good economic situation. We do have two challenges to face, and one belongs to the refugees, which started coming in large numbers in 2015, and the other is the long-term unemployed, people who have very often no qualifications, no formalized qualifications, and that's also something very difficult because the risk to stay unemployed or to become unemployed in Germany is 5 times higher if you do not have any formalized proofs on that. And
so,
Heidi?
Yes, a question here. So this problem of having people that do not have any proof of qualification, that's nothing new in Germany. Why do you think right now this test is necessary?
You're absolutely right. It's nothing new for us in Germany, and we always had the system. And in 2015, it became very, very obvious with the refugees coming to Germany, coming from a completely different system, occupational system, and who are not able to speak German. And our counselors usually don't speak Arabic or Farsi or the other language. So we felt the need to support our counselors with a very practice-oriented approach and a test, which gives at a very early stage in the placement process an information about what people bring with them to use it in the placement process. That's why we felt the need. So that was the reason why it's now has such an importance for us. Okay. As Heidi asked, we have with the refugee crisis, we felt the need to support the counselors with such a test, but we have also had testings before that, and usually we send job seekers to training providers or to employers to prove what they know. And but to do that and to be really good at that, you have to know the German language. That's one precondition for such a measure with an employer or training provider. You have to speak the German language. You have to have time. It takes a few weeks to get it, and the results you get are based on one occupation or one training provider, and we felt we need something more valid. We wanted to have a scientific basis on that and compared it to the German vet, so that we can discuss with people if they go to training measures or immediately finding a job. But it could also be an option to find training measures that they get a full proficiency or a full vocational certificate on the whole apprenticeship. And we also felt we need something much quicker. So the test takes about 4 hours and it's about 120 questions. We wanted to have it multilingual so that you don't need the German language to know, which takes a while to learn. As Heidi knows, she's German. And we wanted some more detailed results in real working areas. That was the reason, or that's the test about. Okay. We're not developing it alone. We have a partner, the Bertelsmann Foundation, who does the test development itself. And I'd like to have a short glance on the test development, how it takes place, and how we do that, because we're very proud that it's on a scientific basis and it's valid results, and that it has a strong connection to real working conditions. So the whole process starts with developing a competence model, and in this competence model it's defined what areas of action are very typical for one occupation. So you concentrate on one occupation and look at the real working processes, and then you say this is the basis for a test. This will cover the test results, and based on these area of actions, area of activities, you build up the rest of your test, or you build the test up. And for this, many vocational experts are engaged, and they discuss it, and this takes a while, a few workshops, and then it goes it gets an expert rating on that and a validation with the curricula if something's missing, and this is one of the core points of the process. And after that, then they develop questions which cover the areas of action. So the items I want to show to you later on is also built up in an expert round, but also with scientists looking at then if they cover all the psychometric aspects which such a test should cover. Then it goes to translation, as I said, 6 languages. And we also have a media production on that, because the films have also introductory videos for giving real working conditions and showing them. And then it starts a field testing, so 15 to 30 person tested. And there's also another quality check on that. And then it gets to our pilot areas, and we do another test with 300 real job seeker or pupils from vocational training schools. And there's another quality round, another check on that, and then a Science Institute does the statistical data, the statistical analysis of that, and then there's another quality check, and then it's finalized and goes to our launch nationwide. Yeah, so that's a whole process, and it's taking a lot of care, and it includes a lot of practitioners and national experts on this job. Okay. Any question till yet, or?
I have a question from the audience, and that is, in the competence-based model, or is the competence-based model part of the occupation taxonomy used in Germany? And this is also linked to ESCO-based competences.
Well, no, it's not. It's well, you see, this is the German approach, and we have the German apprenticeship system. And what we've done is, or what we're trying to find out is, or what we want to find out, if people know the qualifications we need for the German labor market. So it's not in the context of the ESCO taxonomy, but it's rather a very practical approach, so that we look at actions of areas in these working conditions and say, well, what is typical in our country, Germany, but it's basically the same in the other industrial nations. So this is what we're looking at, and it's not the ESCO taxonomy behind it. But as far as I know, I'm not no specialist on the ESCO taxonomy, but the profession is probably not that far away from this taxonomy.
Okay, good.
So,
Thank you.
Do you have any plan to put it in the context of the German taxonomy system?
well, the profession itself, or the occupation which is chosen for this
Yeah.
test, this belongs anyway to the
Yeah.
German taxonomation. So
Yeah.
it's not that far away. So we have it in the German
Yeah.
taxonomy,
Yeah.
and also I think it's transferable to ESCO. So the occupation we chose is already within the taxonomy.
Yes.
But what we, but going a bit more deep in depth, we in Germany we have around about 20,000 skills defined, and this is much more in detail than we offer in the test. We are going on a broader basis on the test.
So it would be that you say we have the professions, and in the taxonomy we have the skills, and this would
Yes.
be somewhere in between.
Exactly.
And that mapping from this in between to the skills is not yet there.
Is not yet there, and is something, well, is not there, is probably not exactly. So because counselor usually have a good knowledge on
Yeah.
the profession or on the
Yeah.
occupation. And usually if you see the areas of action and how we structure the test,
Yeah.
then the counselors can transfer it or can discuss with the job seeker and bring it to in a more detailed level. So this is not but it's something to discuss, yes. It's not exactly the same system as we're using now.
You move to the next slide.
Yes, sure.
So then we'll ask the people in the audience to give some info on their situation. And that is, you see the 5 questions. What kind of methods do you use to assess or measure the hard skills of job seekers who cannot show proof of their qualifications? So please give your answers, and then later we'll come back with the results. Yes, you can go to the
Okay.
next one. Yep.
After the theory, I'd like to show you some tests or some items of a test, so this might also, it starts with this slide. So this is where you as a test participant decide which language you do the test. As I said, we offer it in 6 different languages. So it's German, it's English, it's Arabic, it's Farsi, it's Russian, and it's Turkey.
Why exactly these 6 languages?
German and English is quite clear. These are common languages. Then we chose Arabic and Farsi due to the refugees who come. These are countries, spoken languages from refugees. And Turkish and Russian is we had a look at our long-term unemployed job seekers, or those who have not that formalized qualification. And we got large communities in Germany, which are Turkish and Russian, and this reflects these languages.
I think maybe you already said so, but the whole MYSKILLS project is not only for refugees. Is it?
Yes, exactly. The whole test development, or the test, is not only for refugees. That was one of the starting point. We concentrated on them, but we also want to use it for long-term unemployed people who very often have no formalized qualification, and they got the same challenges. So it's a test for all.
Okay.
Yeah. what you can see here is an example from is one question, one out of 120 questions from a building and object coder, which is a 2-year apprenticeship in Germany, and it's about painting. It's about painting and preparing the surface and things like these. 2 years preparation, and what you can see on this picture is a toolbox with different tools on that. And one of the questions the job seeker would have to ask is, a wall with wallpaper has stains and open seams. You want to repair this. What tools do you need? And you would have to click 2 to 4 tools. So that would be one of the tasks you have to do. I've brought with me another question from the metals and technology expert, and the area of activity would be metal construction, assembly and disassembly. And it's also a 2-year apprenticeship in Germany in which you work with metals. And the question is, you see this picture there, and the question would be, you have to install the depicted frame. In which order do you proceed? And you have to put the answers or given answers in the right order. That would also different question types, so we have different question types. And yes, that's another example.
So these are 2 very different examples from 2 different professions. So who decides, based on which criteria, which test I would now take if I were the client?
A good question, yeah. Because many people don't speak German, and as I said, we have this translation thing also. Usually in Germany, job coaches ask people what they've done, and they tell you, and you look at the what people have done on the
on their CV, what
on
their
their CV, exactly,
work experience they have.
Yeah, on the work experience. Though this is one option, and then in the placement service, you usually talk with people, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And if that's not possible or not enough to decide which test to take, or if it's wise to take a test, then we offer, or there are tools you can also use. So the Bertelsmann Foundation has developed a test, a self-declaration test for these 30 occupations in which we offer these tests. And to every area of activity, they ask questions. How often have you done this? How often did you do that?
Okay.
And then give the results and saying, well, it's you've done it very often, so it's wise to do the test, or probably not enough knowledge on that. This is an option you could choose when you already have decided on one occupation. Yeah. But especially refugees have worked in different fields of activities, and have done different things. So for them there are other tools you could use. So which is also self-declaration coming from a broader basis and saying, have you worked in metal fields, in the kitchen or wherever, and then it narrows and gives you a hint to the occupational field. So
a refugee could also take more than one test.
Yes, a refugee could also take more than one test, but you have to regard some preconditions for this test, because it's not wise for everyone to do this test. First of all, you have to have certain knowledge. You see it when you look at the questions.
I would be lost.
Me too. Then you have to be. You have to read and write. You have to be able to read and write. You can't do it without knowing that. And so.
How about if you have somebody with a much higher level? Like a technical engineer, but because he was a refugee, he wasn't able to take his diplomas when he was fleeing. Yeah. These tests would be too simple for him.
That's absolutely true, and these tests are not contemplated for those people. In Germany, you see, we have a law for recognition of formalized or for formal qualification. you've attended to in a foreign country, and in this is an extra process which the Chamber of Commerce or university do, and especially the Chambers of Commerce, they hand out afterwards a diploma of equivalency, and this is much more than we can offer in this test,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
which is more a practical approach and help for counselors. So we have different ways, and this test is only referring to people without formalized things.
I have a question from Miguel Peromingo. Did you harmonize MySkills with the EU skills profile tool for third country nationals?
Hello, Miguel. Hello, Miguel, because we know each other.
Yes.
No, we haven't harmonized it. It's different. It's a different tool because this EU tool, as far as I know, and we've talked to our colleagues there, is mostly self-declaration. And what we offer with this test is a scientific-based test, which is more than self-declaration. And it's not only a knowledge test; it refers to competences. And if you've passed this test, it's very likely that you are able, in different working situations, that you're also able to succeed in these. So, but we've talked it, and it might be, or it could be rather an additional tool than a supplement.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we have the next slide?
Okay.
Because I think we have some results here. So what kind of methods do you use to assess measures? And we have the following results. 13% say self-assessment. 38% say we do it by interview. Nobody does it by a written test. And we have 13% who say we use a scientifically proven method to measure the skills. And then there are 38% of people who say, well, we have something else. Of course, we're very curious about that. Yes. But that answer will not be given probably today. So those are the results of this poll. What do you think of it?
I would be very interested to see or to learn more about the scientific-based result, because this is something which could be comparable and we could learn from each other. So this would be really interesting for me to see what's happening there.
I hope it's not one of the Bundesagentur people giving this answer.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too. And to the other results, that's probably something I was expecting, because interview is also most of the time, as far as I know, based on self-declaration. So you talk about it, and then you got the results. But it's so that's what I guessed. Yes, but
Okay.
but this scientific-based test, that would be really
Yes.
probably can get in contact and learn from each other.
Let's move on.
So what you can see on this slide is the test results. So that's what we hand out to the job seeker and to the counselor. You see it on the left-hand side. It starts with logos above MySkills and Employment Service. Then it says which occupation was it, then personal data, explanation to the test. And then comes the interesting part, these areas of action. And this is with a gray in the gray color. And this test is about a salesperson. It's in German, so I'll translate it. It's about a salesperson. And you have these different areas of activities from a salesperson. And the first we see with the 4 full bubbles is cashier. That means cashier is a very typical thing to do, a very typical area of action for a salesperson. And there are further explanation on that. When you do the cashier, you first have to prepare your workplace. You have to go there with a cash. You have to count the money. You have to know also some methods about the payment methods. Is it EC? Is it credit card? Whatever. You have to know about the youth regulations in Germany. So, and this test result reflects all these questions. So it's nothing in detail. This is the sum of it all within this cashier. And the logic is 4 bubbles, full 4 bubbles are very good. So you got the results like like someone in Germany doing the apprenticeship and is shortly before his last Prüfung, his last exam. So this is a very good result in this. Yeah.
This is a very nice structured overview. Do the caseworkers get a more detailed test result description?
What we're working on is that we give detailed information on the test result, but the scientific basis for the test is this abstraction.
Okay.
So what we think this test is scientific based, it's valid, and these are the valid results. We give more detail, or we're working on more detailed information, but only for the counselors, as a supporting instrument for the interpretation of such a sheet.
Okay.
So what we're working on is giving a bit more detailed information on the single task or the single skills, but also what will you do with such a test result, because this is probably. Also, the interesting thing, you have this test result, and then you say, well, and now what shall I do with it?
Exactly.
And in Germany, you see, we have the placement service works with a very individualized approach. We do not have an automatism saying if you got this result, it has to be a training measure or we find a job for you. It can always be. It's always within a set of other criteria, like your learning abilities, do you have to send money home, or do you speak the language, or whatever.
Yep.
And it could be that you got a very good result and then you immediately start work. It could also be that you got a very good result and you go to a training course because you learn the whole curricula and then get an exam and giving the full proficiency according to that. So this is something which is very individual, and this is something the placement service discusses with the job seeker in the interviews, what to do with the result.
So do I understand that correctly, that actually the long-term unemployed, the refugees, that they are subject to the, let's call it, regular German placement process, and this is just one additional tool to help them to find out what the logical and best next step would be for that person?
Yes, it's an additional tool. You don't, as a job coach, you don't have to use it. You can use it if it's visible to do that. And it has exactly one reason. If you want to use it, then you want to know what the occupational qualification is, because this person doesn't have a certificate.
Okay.
And that's the only thing this test concentrates on. But
you see it as a kind of a replacement certificate, that you can say, okay, the cashier function, this is, okay, you don't have the official paper, but this is something that you could use to show people, I have some kind of certificate.
Well, the employment service develops these tests because we want to support the counselors for finding work. We hand it out to the customer, and he can use it as he like for his application forms. In Germany, the chambers are basically responsible, according to the law, for these certificates. It's not the public employment service. So it's not a certificate. We don't call it certificate. No. We call it test result, and that's what it is. It's more than nothing, because otherwise you have nothing. But it is not comparable to an officially proven statement of the authority which is responsible.
I have one reaction from Linnea Wikström-Österval. And it's not a question, but a comment. She says, we do a practical test on prospective employer. The problem is that the capacity is severely constrained. So that's the problem with that. One question more in line with we may have already discussed is, do you think this approach to test competencies could also be useful for insight in and enriching the profile of national German job seekers to improve the online matching service? It's a long question.
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. We haven't discussed it yet, and we haven't thought about it because we're in the middle of developing, and it was so time-consuming, and we are just glad that we're going to launch nationwide. but it's a good question, and yeah, I'll take it home and think it over. Thanks.
Okay. Good. One more while we're at it. How do employers react on these tests? Does it already lead to more hires?
We have just launched 8 tests since 2 months or so. So the reaction that gets to to hiring more people is not there yet. So the time was too short. But what we have is we ask employers about these tests and about the test result you see on the screen, and we ask them what their opinion on that is. And the reaction most of the time is that it's very good, and that it's the areas of activities really cover what's in practice in real companies. So that's a good sign for us. And they are really interested in this test result and say, well, that helps us to choose job seeker.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the reaction is good.
Good.
But we have
It's too early, I understand.
It's too early. It's
Okay.
just too early.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, we have to move on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the back side.
Yes.
Side.
Yeah.
And there we give tell about the limitations. We tell a bit more about the test, but we also tell about the limitations of the test. That it's no method test. That it's not a test about German language. All these things I've mentioned. So
Okay.
that's very important for us.
We have another poll, and that reflects also a question of one of the people. Is, do you think the developed test will also be usable for other countries? And that's actually linking in with this question. Would you be interested in integrating this test? And that means the test from Anja, I say now, into the placement process of your PES. So please cast your votes and we'll come back with the results later. So, Anja.
Okay. Yeah. What I would like to talk about is how we use it in our placement process. We were already in this theme, and this slide shows a bit about how we do that. So, as I said, the test is computer-based, but it's not on the internet available. That's one reason is that the test must be secured. Otherwise, if you know the question, then you can throw it away. So. And you do have some preconditions before you go into the test, because it's a 4-hour test, which is very long and very exhausting. So we have it in our advisory session at the beginning, and we have a counselor discussing this test with a job seeker, or the job seeker can say he wants to do the test. This is one option. And then they look over the precondition if it's viable to do the test. That's what we already talked about, Heidi asked. And then we can ask for the test in our computer system, so it's nothing out of the system. It's in the process, and the psychological service team and the public employment service conducts the test. So we have a psychological supervision and another quality round on that. And then they look over the test results if anything is not normal, and then they talk to job seeker if anything happens there. And then the result gets back to the counselor, so it does not go directly back to the job seeker. It goes to the counselor, because that's what we just talked about. The idea is that you have it in the process and discuss what you do with the results, which steps to take next, because this is the crucial point of this test. What can you do? Or what steps will you take to find a job on the labor market? So that's the process.
For me, a more general question about that, coming more now from the software integration side of and passion that I have. Do you in general plan to put more automation, more digitization into that whole process? This links all a little bit to the questions that we had already. How do you Do you plan to put it into the structure of the taxonomy, using it for skills matching, also using it for enriching profiles and so on? Because this is very valuable knowledge that could be more beneficial throughout the whole process. Do you have plans on that, thoughts?
Well, well, thoughts on that we do have. Plans not, according to the time frame, because well, it took us a while, and we're just in the middle of launching it, and we're not even ready with the preparation of this test. So our whole ideas are working on how to finish this test and to put it into place. But and another thing is we already succeeded in putting in our computer system that counselors can einschalten, can
include,
can arrange the test. Within our computer system and get the results back in our computer system. That took us a while to get that realized. In Germany, it's not that easy. You know that better than me.
Yes, I do.
And the next steps could be discussed later on, and we could think about that. So, but it would be really something something very helpful if it could enrich in the profiles and could be used for the matching. But this is something in long term. So probably.
Just a short tip here for the audience who don't know it. On the very bottom left gray box, Verbis, that's the computer system we're talking about.
The German,
exactly.
That's our computer system.
Okay.
Are we all ready for the results? Is that the next slide? Let me see. Yes. And everybody says, yes, we would like to have it.
Perfect.
Oh, really?
Yes, but 70% says maybe we need some adaptations.
Yes, probably. That could be.
But nobody says, no, I don't want it, or it's not relevant. Everybody is very interested, it seems.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
70% want adaptation.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good thing. So, good. Okay. So I continue.
Yes.
I won't go through the slide, but these slides contains the 30 occupations we've chosen. So in phase 1, these are the occupations we already have in use nationwide, and phase 2 is these occupations we are planning to or are in the preparation and launching it till the mid of the year. So that's our plan.
Glad.
Yeah, that's our plan. And well, it was also not that easy to decide on which occupation to choose. So it had some criteria. It shouldn't be too difficult, not too difficult jobs or occupations. And we had statistical criteria. We looked a bit closer on like what are the labor market needs in Germany, and also what qualifications bring the refugees with them, and the long-term unemployed in Germany, what do they have? It should be occupations for men and women. So everything you can think of we had in our mind. And the second step was an expert round. We had experts looking over that and discussing it. And so we hope to cover, or we think we cover, a large amount of the labor market needs. So that's the idea. Okay. That's what are our plans for today for the launch. So as I said, we started with the process 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Then it started. Then the development took place, and we want to, or in November, the first 8 tests were ready, and we launched them nationwide. And while we're launching them nationwide, we still have the other 22 tests in process. So we're working on the tests, and some are in a piloting phase already. So we have a cascade testing and launch parallel, because we felt the need to offer them very quick. So we have a launch, and we're getting comments from all our offices, and we also are piloting the others and learning. So we're doing everything in a cascade system. So, and the plan is to roll out all our tests in the middle of the year. That's the plan.
Okay.
You already talked about the feedback from employers, that they're in general quite positive about it. What about the people that take the tests now as real life for them? And what about the caseworkers that use the tests?
Yeah, we do a lot of workshops on that, and we do questionnaires on that, and we talk in single discussions with them, and we have it on a broader basis discussed. And what is the employer side, I already mentioned, and what is also interesting is we ask job seekers. So I attended some counseling sessions, and basically, when the result is good, they say, "Well, if it's good, I might use it for the our applications." That's something they say. Yes, that's very good and very interesting. If it's not that good, they probably won't use it, but that's their decision. And the counselors. This is the most interesting part, because, as we discussed already, it's kind of new system. Usually we take the occupations or the ESCO code on this basis, or the very detailed skills and tasks. And this is something in between. And we have divided reactions. We have counselors saying this is absolutely okay. I know what I'm talking about. They have good professional knowledge in this field. Yeah. And they say, well, that helps me. That's good. And we also have other counselors saying, well, I need some supporting documents to transform it into our usual system. Yeah. So this is what we're working on and developing it together with the counselors. So this is,
work in progress.
It's work in progress, yeah. Not ready yet.
Okay, good.
It's work in progress.
Yes.
And I don't know if I've mentioned that already. It's the test result is only handed out to the counselor. And to the job seeker himself. We won't hand it out to an employer directly, because this is something personal for... Okay, so that's clear. I just want to make that clear. Okay.
Do we have more slides?
No. That's the...
Perfect. Then if you hand it to me, I'll show a few last slides. We are planning to have a workshop. And in this workshop, if you get together, if you come there, then you could learn a little bit more about how really to do it. And maybe it would be very interesting to find out if you can use it and how you could use it, probably in your own public employment services. So if you're interested in that, we think in our offices in Utrecht would be a good place, and maybe somewhere in June. So if you're interested, I think this slide speaks for itself. So please let us know if you're interested. And then a lot of this information, also over the other pep talks we had in the past, is available on this small website called pezep.org. We also have other information, and we hope that maybe some people will even share some other information that is useful for your colleagues. We'll also make sure that the presentation of Anja will be available on this website. As a final wrap-up, well, I hope you enjoyed it, these 45 minutes or maybe 48 minutes already, and you sticked with us all the time, I see on my screen, so that's wonderful. I want to thank my co-host for being with us today, and of course, our guest speaker. Thank you very much for explaining all these interesting stuff, and I'm sure other people will have use of it, and I think these things matter, so that's very important. If you still want to see it again, or think that one of your colleagues is also interested, it is available on demand. So just use the link you've also used to get to this viewing today, and you can see it again. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being with us, and hope to see you next time.